All right, so now people will say, well, listen, if you're right and if the Bible's right, then why does the sun disappear at night? Well, it sets. Well, I want you all to now listen. Please listen, because when I say stuff like this, please listen. I'm about to make a PowerPoint. Please listen. Okay? Please listen, because this is going to be another PowerPoint. Remember when I told you all that the scriptures is going to make you use your common sense. But science said all of. Oh, yeah, that's another thing I wanted to say. Okay. Science is going to make you use your common sense. Okay? Now, where does the sun and the moon go? Well, first, before I explain that, and I'm not going to lean on my own understanding to explain that. I'm going to give you the scriptures from the scroll of Enoch. Now, many of you all would say that the scroll of Enoch or the book of Enoch is falsehood. No. It's extremely truthful. Okay. Now, I'm gonna prove it. Okay. Now, you've all heard the term. Everyone has heard the term. If you haven't heard of this term, then you're not human or you're deaf. Even deaf people know about this term because they can read it. Now, if you're deaf and you're blind, then that's different. Yah, to Yah be the glory and have mercy upon you. But I need you all to understand something. You've all heard of the term the sun sets and the sun rises, right? Here's my PowerPoint. And let me just go ahead and continue. Here's my PowerPoint. Okay? If the sun sets and rises, how will that explain it being so-called outer space 96 million miles away? How will it explain that? You heard what I said, right? How will it explain that? If the sun sets and rises, then what is it doing 96 million miles away? If the sun sets and rises. All right, hold up. I'm going to do something. Okay. So if the sun sets and rises, now, make sure I cut this car off this time. Hey, my car, when I got done that last message, my car started up. That was nothing but Christ. It was dead. I wish I had kept it on while I started. My car it wasn't completely dead because I was able to turn on the light. But remember, when I made the message, I tried to start it up and it didn't turn. As soon as I got done the message, as soon as I got done the work for Christ, and when I say it started right up, it didn't even cough. It started right up. So anyway, the term the sun sets and the sun rises comes from the Bible, people. Why don't people say, well, the earth spins and the earth turns, and so we don't see it? Well, NASA tells us that. Now, let me tell you some more foolishness. I need you to pay attention. NASA is telling us that the earth is going around the sun and it's spinning like a basketball. And it's supposed to be spinning at some odd thousands of miles per hour? Science is becoming more and more foolish every day. Right? So that's the reason why we see the sun in the daytime, and because it spins and then it looks like the... Come on now. Let me explain to you what's happening here, okay? I'm going to explain to you what's happening here. I'm not going to read the whole scroll. Let's go to the Scroll of Enoch, chapter 72. The Scroll of Enoch, chapter 72. Okay? This is the Scroll of Enoch, chapter 72. I'm going to start off at the top. I'm going to just give y'all some pointers here. Okay? It says, the book of the courses of the luminaries. Luminaries, meaning the sun, the moon, and the stars. The luminaries of heaven. What heaven? The earth, sky. That heaven. Now, there's heavens above that, but we're talking about that heaven. The heaven that Satan is the principality of. Satan is the principality of that heaven. He was exiled and told to leave the higher heavens. Okay? But he's still the principality of the air. Okay? That's why you notice. But, okay. So, now, the relations of each of these luminaries, according to their classes, their dominion and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the set apart Malach, or I hate using some of these words, the holy angel, okay, or the righteous Malach, the righteous messenger, okay, who was with me, with who? Enoch, who is their guide, showed me. So Uriel is the guide of these luminaries. Uriel is the guide of the sun, the moon, and the stars. Tells you right here. And he showed me all their laws, exactly as they are, and how it is with regard to all the years of the world, and unto eternity, till the new creation. So, Uriel is going to explain to him how the sun, the moon, and the stars work, according to all the times of eternity, until the end. Okay? And until the new creation is accomplished, which dureth till eternity. And this is the first law of the luminaries. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of the heaven, and its setting in the western portals of the heaven. And have any of you ever heard of the term, the sun rises in the east? Have any of you ever heard of the term, the sun rises? I think there was a brother that came out with a rap record back in the day, Ja Rule the Damager. I used to like Ja Rule the Damager. He wasn't talking all that Superfly snooker stuff. Many of you would call that record bogus, and a lot of women don't like to listen to things that they don't understand. Many women are very carnal, and they only want to hear about clothes and cars and Dior and all of that stuff. But the brother Ja Rule the Damager, even though he downplayed Elohim, but he was a knowledgeable brother for the most part. You can tell that he read the Bible. And I believe his album was called The Sun Rises in the East. But it didn't derive from his record, of course. this term has been around for many, many years. And many of you have heard that term today. The sun rises in the east. Okay? So what does it do? The luminary of the sun has its rising in the eastern portals of the heaven and its setting in the western portals of the heaven. And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets. And the moon rises and sets in these portals. And the leaders of the stars and those whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, and all following each other in accurately corresponding order. So, what's going on here? So, I think you all need to understand something very important. The stars move. It tells you right here, which is the reason why you can come out and you can see a star one night and then you don't see it again. Because they move. The stars move. How? They move in correspondence to their nature, and they're led by an angel by the name of Uriel. Oh, that's foolishness, right? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Remember what I told you all. These things that are foolishness to you all, you can just go ahead about your business, right? So, the sun and the moon, they go in and out of the same portals. So, they need guidance because, why? Well, I guess, so they don't bump into one another or whatever the case may be. But let me keep reading, okay? That's why it says here, and all following each other in accurately corresponding order. Because so in other words, they're guided in accurately. So I guess so they don't bump into one another, right? Whatever the case may be, right? Also, many windows to the right and to the left of these portals. Now, windows. That window is a very, very interesting word. Because if you remember that I told you all that the way that the flood came, see, many of you have been led to believe that it was just ordinary rain that rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Now, it did rain, but it did much more than rain. It was a catastrophic worldwide deluge, which is more than raining 40 days and 40 nights. I explained to you that the ocean floor, that waters came from beneath. So you have the waters on this planet, and then beneath this planet, there are bigger waters that I told you before that make the waters on this planet look like the size of a Snapple. I told you all that before. So what happened was, and as I read to you prior, that the waters exploded from beneath the deep, but also there were windows in the sky that opened and let water explode down into the earth as well. That's why everything was destroyed. It wasn't because there was raindrops only for 40 days and 40 nights. There was an immense cataclysmic deluge that the water exploded onto the planet. And it's hard to imagine because if you think about it, water is a very powerful thing. In fact, besides Elohim himself, there is nothing more powerful than water. Water will destroy anything. All you have to do is give it enough time. And the more water, the quicker it's going to devastate things. So you have to understand that water is more powerful than gasoline. You can use 1 liter of water to equal the power of 300 liters of gasoline. You don't believe me? Research it. 1 liter of water is equal to 300 liters of gasoline. All you have to do is know how to harness the power of water properly, because we never had to use gasoline to run cars. We could have been used water to run cars. Did you all know that? But no. See, the problem with that is the power structure didn't allow that. Why? Because if water runs cars, water's free. It's not free. It should be free. But it's far less expensive than gasoline, and it's far more abundant. Water is absolutely immeasurable. Water will never run out. The seas, the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean and the Red Sea, some of these seas, they'll never dry out ever. They'll never dry out. You'll see the Niles, the rivers dry out, but you'll never see the seas. Why? Because the seas are replenished by bigger seas, bigger waters beneath that actually surround the planet from the top to the bottom. So water constantly recycles itself. One of the 7 wonders of the world is a what's it? A waterfall. What's it called? Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls will never run out of water. Why? Because the water falls, goes back into the earth, and it recycles itself, and then it comes back over the top. So the Niagara Falls will never stop falling. Moreover, it's probably the cleanest waters on the planet, because when waters run through rocks, the rocks clean the water. Rocks clean water. That's the reason why you see waters in areas where, there's a lot of rocks, in many cases, springs. You know what they're doing with the springs? Can any of you go find a spring today? I'm talking about a spring, like a place where you can go and bathe, and just all the springs are being either destroyed, or they're being governed by government and by legislative power structure. Why? Because if you're ill, you can go sit in a spring and heal yourself. That's why. Yeah, it's true. So they know this here. If you got pneumonia, if you got this, if you got that, right? All you got to do is go and bathe in a nice, warm, hot spring on a daily basis. And as you do this here, you heal yourself. Yeah. So go try to find a spring, right? You go try to find a spring. It's hard to do. Okay, I don't know anywhere where I can go to a spring and just go. Me and my family can go to a spring, and we just go sit in the spring and bathe in the spring and all of these things, right? Because these things nature can heal you all together. That's the reason why all us city slickers, you gotta understand, we think we got it made here in the city. No. The real bid is living off grid. Because if it's a winter cold climate, then that's different, right? That's why he says that pray that you don't take your flight in the winter. And the winter is not good for anybody, right? And originally the Garden of Eden was along the equator, right? Where it's warm, because that's where we get our power, our melanin skin. The sun replenishes us and all of these things. The sun hurts the other nations, but us Negroes, the sun replenishes us. Not only does it give us strength and power, but it also is good for our skin. Our skin is like solar panels for the sun. Black people's skin are solar panels for the sun. If we lived along the equator, think about it. This is how people never got sick. You can even take gems and stones and copper and silver and wear these things upon your body, and these things help keep you from getting sick. Yeah, that's why a lot of the people in Africa, but see, the white boys want to go over there, and the China boys want to go over there and take all the golds and the silvers and the rubies and all of these things, right, from Africa. Right, China got a whole bunch of money in Africa right now, right? They got a whole bunch of investments, and Africa's in trouble, the entire continent, okay? China's a powerful people right now, right? More powerful than many of you can ever imagine, right? But there's a World War III coming, and I'm telling you all this too, okay? But that's not what this message is about, all right? Let me move a little quicker. So I really don't want to read all of this, right? But basically, let me just go ahead and tell you. So basically, it says that the sun and the moon here, I want you to go to the scripture yourself, because I don't want to be here all night. It's telling you here, go to the scroll of Enoch, chapter 72, and read it for yourself. Read it for your damn self, right? It's telling you that the sun and the moon go through in and out 6 portals. They both go in and out the same portal. The sun comes out and it rises out of the portal on the east, and it goes and it settles in the portal in the west. So we see the sun no more. Why? Because it's a portal. Okay? Probably a window that opened when the deluge came, right? So that was probably the case. Hold up. Okay, so now, that's probably the case. Now, I want you all to, so then if you go down a little further, this is the Scroll of Enoch. I don't want to read all this, okay? This is the Scroll of Enoch, chapter 72, right? And it gets real interesting. I'm just going to read one scripture. It says, and the sun rises from the fourth portal and settles in the fourth, rises from the fourth portal and sets in the fourth and returns to the fifth portal. So it goes from, it rises in the fourth portal, it rises in the first portal, settles in the fourth portal, it rises in the first portal from the east, it sets in the first portal from the west, it rises in the second portal from the east and sets in the second portal from the west, it rises in the third portal from the east and settles in the third portal in the west, it rises in the fourth portal in the east and settles in the fourth portal in the west, it rises in the fifth portal, do you get it? And it settles in the fifth portal. That's the reason why the sun is never in the same place. Same reason why the moon is never in the same place. They're never going to be in the exact same place. The reason why the stars are never in the same place. Okay? So, also, it goes to tell you, as the moon goes in and out of the different portals, that's how we get, it tells you here. Let me just give you an example. And in the sixth portal, and rises and settles in the sixth portal, 1 and 30 mornings on account of its own sign. So every 30 mornings it does this. And on that day, the day becomes longer than the night. And that day becomes double the night. So basically, as the sun does this, that's how you get daylight saving time. Because the sun moves and goes through certain portals and different portals, that's how we get sometimes a day longer than, what's it called, spring forward and fall back. That's why in the summertime the days are longer and in the wintertime the nights are longer. Because the sun moves in different portals in and out across the planet. So that's the reason why this central time is a certain time, the eastern time is a certain time. That's why they call it the Eastern time over here. And then you have Central Time, and then you have whatever the case may be, Pacific Time, whatever, right? So this is how it works, because the sun and the moon go in and out of portals, and as it goes into the first portal and as it rises in the first portal and settles in the first portal, 30 days, and it comes up and it rises in the second portal and settles in the second portal, 30 days, and it comes and it rises in the third portal and settles in the second portal, 30 days, and so forth and so forth and so forth. That's how you get the seasons. That's how you get the times, the periods, whatever, whatnot. But you have to understand that everything is still out of course. Everything is out of course. Because the moon comes in every year 10 days too soon. Everything is out of course. Satan and jacked everything up. He didn't mess it all up. Which is the reason why Christ got to come and return and set everything back to order. Now, I'm going to pause this because I want to find something. I'm about to end this. Okay, so listen. There's a specific verse that I was trying to find. It's too hard to find. But I'm going to paraphrase it. Where Yah says that I'm paraphrasing. I'm probably butchering this scripture. I can't find it because I don't know the direct words. Well, I got to start taking notes better. He said that he would rather show the entire earth, right? He would rather show the earth. In other words, let everybody see all four corners of the planet than to destroy his own people. So what that scripture does is it lets us know that we didn't see all of the planet. Okay? So he's basically saying, listen, you'd see, I would show you the whole earth before I destroy my people. Was letting you know that he's not going to destroy his own people. Now, some of you got to go, but not all of us. Okay? Not us. He's not going to destroy us as a nation. As a narrow gate. But he's not going to utterly destroy us, meaning where there's none of us left. There's always been a remnant. A remnant meaning a remaining, what's a residue. Okay? So, the scripture that I want to read right here this is Paul talking. And this is Colossians 2:8. Colossians 2:8. Okay? And it reads, beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, and not after the rudiments of the world. Excuse me, after the rudiments of the world. So the spirits, the spiritual wickedness in dark places, and not after Christ. Let me reread that. Beware lest any man spoil you, lest any man deceive you through philosophy, and vain deceit, such as sciences and all of these things. After the tradition of men, and after the spirits and wickedness, or the spirits or wickedness in high places of this world, and not after Christ. See, wisdom and knowledge is through Christ. If you want to know something, you read the scriptures. But many of you like to go to all of these other foolish books and all of these other foolish authors. Men. That's so weak to have to go and listen to men. And men gonna tell you what they think and how they feel and their perspectives and their theories on things is foolishness. It's all foolishness. Right? So, I want to end it with this. Right? With John chapter 1. I want to end it with going to John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, which is Christ. And the Word was with Elohim. Make it sound like it's two people, right? And the Word was Elohim. That just destroys that notion. Christ is a very tricky person. The same was in the beginning with Elohim. The same was in the beginning. So, okay, so people say, well, it's a father and it's a son. Well, then it says, and the Word was Elohim. Well, that's because Elohim is a triune nature. True. But then it's going to say, and the same was in the beginning with Elohim. So, the so-called son is not a creation. He wasn't created. So if he was self-begotten, what is he? Because right here it would say that if there's two separate deities, then they're co-equal. Well, no, the Father is the creator. But it says right here, he was in the same. There's even other scriptures that says that Christ was self-begotten. Self-begotten meaning he created him, meaning not even really he created himself. He always existed. Yah was not created. He didn't create himself. It's impossible to create yourself. See, math has no beginning. A lot of people don't understand that. The number 0 is infinite. Let me repeat that. Math has no beginning. The number 0 is infinite. That's the reason why math begins with 0 and it ends with 0. Math doesn't end with the number 9. It ends with the number 0. The number 10 is a construct. It's supposed to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And then it says, all things were made by him. Who? Christ. They were made by him, and without him was nothing made that was made. All things, everything was created by Yahushua HaMashiach, and through him. And without him was nothing made that was made. Okay? Do not follow after the traditions of men and the rudiments of the world, philosophies and vain deceits and sciences, but follow Christ.